Hello everyone, I'm Zethrix.
And I'm Savazar. And we played Dinkum for 100 days, and here's what happened.
And on day 29, it was finally time to get Charlie back in his home safe and sound. But first, I had to make some Billy Can kits. Don't mind me. Savzar still needed some help getting Charlie home. So I came over to supervise and make sure Charlie got where he needed to be. Savzar was like a helpless mom who didn't know what to do. But that's what I was here for. I played a game of chicken with the chicken. I was not going to back out. And after a quick pep talk, Charlie finally was headed in the direction he needed to go. And after Savzar and Charlie wreaked havoc on my life, I finally had both of them taken care of. So I took down all the extra fence posts and I wanted to reuse them to make the farm look even better. I think this looks better than just a bunch of straight lines. I headed back over to Fletch to pay off some debt. And now it was time to finally relocate John's goods so that way I could get it center with the pathway. But this meant I was going to have to move it twice because I couldn't just move it a couple squares over. And now it was time for some milestones. I smashed over 250 rocks, I smelted over 250 bars, sawed over 250 wood, collected over 50 shells, and unlocked 6 doors. And finally, sold 1 ruby. And don't forget, I was still catching bugs here and there. I went back out metal detecting because I still needed lots of metal goodies to finish off all the towers. And I also knew I was going to need a lot of metal for future projects. I made my way back over to the first tower, where I was finally able to repair it. I think this means that once I repair the other towers, I'll be able to teleport between them. I made my way back home to do some last minute redecorating. I recentered the windmill. As you can tell, I have a little bit of OCD. I moved the crates so that way they weren't blocking the entrance. I think that is much better. I readjusted all the furnaces to make sure they looked good. And you can also see that I added more Billy Can kits and kegs. And now I think everything was looking uniformed and structured. And of course, it was all very organized. And with that, it was time to wrap up day 29. Finishing off with a few levels and 0 dinks. Day 30 was a big day for me. Because you might not have noticed yet, but we had one of the most important visitors yet. The scientist was finally visiting our town. I was like a kid in a candy shop here. I think this is how Salazar felt when Erwin came to town. I learned that the scientist wanted all the shiny discs that we had. So I went and grabbed them right away. And I paused for a long second when he offered me this price. You got a deal, Franklin. I'm rich. But seriously, just check out all the goodies we can get from Franklin. However, I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I learned there's an automatic dirt compactor and printer. I've been doing all this dirt shoveling for no reason. It's okay because I couldn't be more excited for the future of our town. I wanted everything Franklin had, and now it was time to set my eyes on the big picture items. The tractor, the helicopter, the motorbike, I wanted it all. But I started with the repair table for now. I had tons of tools that were broken and busted, and it was time to get them all repaired and back in good condition. But first, I had to do my daily redecorating, and I sold some junk I had to John. At this point, 26,000 dinks was pennies to me. Just kidding, I need every dink possible. I bought another furnace and stone grinder, and I paid off all our debts. And now it was time to move John's shop to its permanent location. And it only cost me 50,000 dinks to move it over 2 squares. But it was worth it. I went over to visit our crops because it's been a while. Trust me, I am not happy with the setup of this. This was going to bother me for a while, but I wasn't ready to address it. I found some new bugs for Theodore. I was itching for every permit point possible. There were so many licenses that I still wanted. And since we'd been neglecting fishing for so long, I figured it was about time we got our fishing poles a little wet. I took the few fish I had over to Theodore to get a few more permit points. Every permit counts. I finished off day 30 with some more fishing and some metal detecting. Now that I've seen what Franklin had to offer, my production was about to skyrocket. After metal detecting for a while, I found a new fish that I really wanted to catch. This thing looks huge. And I was still a noob at fishing. I was definitely still trying to figure it out. And I'm pretty sure I almost caught this shark. He really thought about taking the bait. But it was getting late and I was out of energy, so it was time to call it a day. And on day 30, we earned 31,000 dinks, along with a few levels. And now it was time for day 31. But we didn't get a visitor today. And it wasn't raining. I went over to Fletch to pay off my debt, and I learned about the bank deed. I applied for this puppy right away. And with all the money I had from selling the discs, I paid off my debt, and I thought this would be the perfect place for the bank. I made sure to get all the supplies we needed to start the building, and it was time to finish the pathway over by the mine and John's goods. This was just a rough draft, as of course I would come back and revise it probably a couple more times. And with all the success we've had with fishing lately, Savzar and I were out to go fishing for the whole day.
I took a break from catching my bugs to go fishing with Zetrix.
I managed to catch this big fella. I kept trying to cross lines with Savzar. I was pestering. I also caught this little guy. Savzar and I were racing across the lake, and she cheated and bounced off my head.
I beat Zetrix at everything.
After all that fishing, we made our way back home. I collected a lot of flowers, so I made sure to brew them. And that wraps up day 31. I got lots of fishing levels, but we didn't make any dink. And we finally had a visitor. Clover was coming to town. But first, I stopped at Theodore, and I thought I had a lot of new fish, but I guess I only had one, which that was a little disappointing. I got a quest from Theodore to take a picture, and we got a quest to kill the alpha croc. I checked on the building of the bank, and I thought it was pretty cool that it was 2 stories. I went and checked on Charlie, and he grew up into a big chicken. I wish he was a chick forever. I caught some new bugs. I continued metal detecting, and I had to swim all the way out here to get Theodore's picture. This place was covered with sharks. I think Theodore might be trying to set me up. I made sure to snap a picture for him anyways. I continued metal detecting, and Savazar taught me that you could swim down on the water and get all the goodies off the seafloor. Thanks, Savazar. But now, it was time to kill the alpha croc. And I didn't see him at first, but I was basically swimming with him. Good thing he went for Savazar first.
Zetrix didn't even care that I was being chased, and honestly, I'm surprised I didn't die. Zetrix always uses me as the bait, so now it's his turn to be the bait. We turned this alpha into a beta.
At some point, I managed to stand on his head, and he couldn't get me. So, we made light work of this big boy. I went back to metal detecting, and I stumbled upon some chaos. All of these animals were attacking each other. So, I took advantage of the situation, and got in my hits where I could. This made it easy to collect a lot of meat. As they were all basically dead already from fighting each other, I was just finishing them off. And then, I made my way back home, because Savazar had something for me. It wasn't a piece of clothing this time, no. She had a circuit board I needed to finish one of the towers. And with that, it was time to wrap it up on day 31. And with that, I got a few levels and 12,000 dink. And I couldn't wait to turn in on my quest tomorrow. Alright everyone, thank you for watching. Please let us know what you think down in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.